Wearing a mask all day. They require it where I work. Anyway, I was going to give you guys an update. So, on May the 20th, we essentially texted our neighbors where the lawyer said basically to say that we had a boundary by acquiescence or a boundary by agreement because of the fence line. That was on May 20th of 2020. That was on May 20th. Because that morning, I had thought, well, maybe what we can do is come to a compromise. I mean, my parents think that it's their land, and it is their land, but they would give up some of the front not to have an argument and to keep the grove where the treehouse that their grandparents built still intact and go ahead and put the fence around it and whatever. But that's basically what I said is the biggest point of contention is going to be the grove around the treehouse. What can be done to give that section to my parents? Now, initially, first thing I did, I know it's going to be a horrible picture. But anyway, the first thing I did was I texted the phone number that I knew, and it ended up being Tristan, his wife's. So then I got the response back from the husband, and it says, I don't want to talk about this over text because text can be misunderstood too easily. I will be home after 2:30 today if your parents would like to talk to me, but so we are clear, I am not going to be giving up any piece of my property. The fence will be put on the boundary, so I am sorry, but the treehouse will have to be taken down. So that's why then I spoke to a lawyer about it because, I was thinking, okay, let's come to a compromise. And they weren't willing to come to a compromise. And the lawyer said, we have a boundary by acquiescence. And to inform them that I had spoken to a lawyer, and he said that is our boundary line by acquiescence. So my response to Reef later in the afternoon, so he responded at 8 and I responded back this at 3:30 p.m. It says, Reef, I have spoken to my lawyer and he says the fence line is boundary by acquiescence and to cease and desist all activities on our side of the fence. So we had thought that was working because we hadn't heard anything. They were staying on their side. Nothing was happening. And then Memorial Day here, the 25th on 2020, we get up after I go to work and they have posted the no trespassing signs on where they believe their boundary to be. And they've also come through here, it looks like, and pulled up and removed our fence from here. So you can see that they have done that all along here. And they've just taken it up, they've removed it, even tried to pull some of it off of where I have my forge over here to try to, I guess, take some of it up and remove it. And we'll kind of walk around and see what else they've done to our property here so that I can go ahead and let the lawyer know, because the first time I spoke with this guy, our neighbor, he made sure to have a gun between us and kept telling me he's a corrections officer, and so he knows how to handle rough people. And so, yeah, it looks like, so they've even come through here and removed the fence that was here that I had showed you guys in a different video. So they have come through and removed quite a bit of the fence off of here, which, as you guys saw, I had texted them on the 20th not to do, and that we had a lawyer that we were going to essentially come through and that they were not supposed to touch anything on our side. So they did. They came through, and I mean, even over to here where my boat is and everything else, they took this fence down. You can see where it was. They laid it down all the way across here. So unfortunately, that means that we will have to go to the next step, because it is our land that they are trying to take away. And it's kind of interesting. I found out, oh wait, I'm sorry, let me finish. Yeah, so he had his .22 rifle between us and kept saying how he was a corrections officer and he knew how to deal with rowdy people. And so finally I said, you know what? I was in the Army. I know how to deal with them too. And he stopped mentioning it as much, but he kept that rifle between us. So now they've also taken this down and put up those no trespassing signs on our property after we had told them what the lawyer said. So, and of course they waited to do it until a holiday, because that means that there are no courts open. That means that there are no lawyers around. And that means that this corrections officer, who has now removed evidence because we told him that that was our boundary by acquiescence. So now we're going to go ahead and have to take it to the next step. We tried to be nice. We tried to have compromise. We tried to have a workabout. But, I mean, as you can see, we clearly showed that this was all fenced off, and that we had, and I showed you guys the evidence, that I did send them the notice that our lawyer had told them about the boundary by acquiescence. So, unfortunately, that's the first thing I get to do tomorrow morning. So if you guys have had any dealings with stuff like this, or any other problems such like this, go ahead and leave comments down below, and maybe we can come up with something. Because like I said, I mean, I was trying to be a good neighbor and come up with a compromise so that everything would work out fine between the two. Because like I said in the last video, my parents, they thought and have always paid taxes and always kept it up so that that fence line was the property. But unfortunately, some neighbors, and I found out again through the lawyer, that he says at least 90% of the time it is young people trying to take older people's land away. It is never the other way around, and it is very, very rarely the same age or young people after young people. They just assume that because they're old, they won't put up a fight, they won't put up anything like that. So, unfortunately, I got to help my parents put up this fight and put up this, because to lose the land because of a neighbor like this is very, very frustrating. It pulls you up. Hey, what would you do? Or I mean, this fence has been here forever. As well as we even just said that, you know, hey, our lawyer said this, and they still then came out, removed the fence and everything. So I guess we'll have to go to our lawyer and ask that they pay some kind of penance, or maybe they put their fence up there so that we end up with a fence again, because they took down our fence. But anyway, hopefully you guys kind of saw where and how they've posted this stuff up here. And I'll let you know how it goes with the lawyer tomorrow. And I'll let you know how it goes more with these neighbors later. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hopefully you guys have some comments and stuff that you'd like to give me tomorrow or in the future when you guys see this. And you all have a great day.